we will not be held responsible for any hearing impairments or damage caused to you from excessive exposure to this sound.
Damn right we won't do. What's your boss doing?
In like 5.
Wow. What was that?
Well, it is Friday night, and it is 10:30, and we are on the air live. Sackheads Radio Show, the voice of reason in an unreasonable world.
The what?
The voice of reason in
What
an
is this?
unreasonable
Are you
world.
coming up with some kind of tagline without telling me?
The right to the left.
We all right?
The awesome to the not so awesome. The sensible to the senseless.
You could just leave it as the awesome.
Smart to the dumb, which you're the smart and I'm the dumb. It is Friday evening.
We're basically like yin and yang, but neither one of us are black. So it's like a white circle, I guess. I don't know.
We might as well be like two dolphins. Have you ever seen that tattoo in the lower someone's back? Two dolphins.
What do you mean if I've seen it? I haven't.
Oh, man, do we have a full show tonight?
It's going to be a good one.
No, I'm asking you, do we have a full show tonight? I wasn't involved in any of the pre-show.
Yeah, no, I thought that you were and that it was going to be a good one. But, yeah, we have a really good show lined up tonight. We're going to discuss the debate a little bit, and we're going to discuss some interesting electoral scenarios as well, and discuss the breaking news that came out of Benghazi.
That's such an open statement.
Which part of it?
The electoral aspect of it, because
there's
so much that can go right now. And
I geeked out on the whole electoral map and came up with some
I love it.
Interesting scenarios. I don't want to get too much into it right now.
No, I know. I just love it when you geek out on anything.
But it's actually pretty cool. I spent a lot of time doing it, and I think I've actually proven, in my mind at least, that Ohio is far more critical to Obama than it is to Romney as things stand right now.
Well, I can't wait. That'll be a good second half piece. I'm excited. We have a lot to talk about.
If I'm right, it'll be a good second half piece. Otherwise, it'll just be me bloviating and.
As opposed to every day when you don't?
Right, yeah, as opposed to every day when I do that anyways.
Oh, man. So much to come up that's happened in Libya. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about...
Did I just not go over this stuff? What are you doing?
Well, you left out the debate.
Right now. No, I didn't. I started with the debate.
Did you? Yes. I got to stop taking naps, Mitch.
We're going to get into a little bit of Constitution also.
Yeah.
Based upon this whole electoral thing.
And, man, that's one of those things, again, this is why I turn to you for constitutional knowledge. Because when you brought up, and I'm not going to discuss what we brought up because it's our thing, but when you first brought it up to me and had me start researching, it's scary. And it's not scary like, oh, my God, scary. It's scary just like, wow, that could really happen.
Yeah.
So that'll be a blast to talk about. I can't wait to see, because we've only talked briefly this week about it. I can't wait to see you break it down. I'll be hearing it for the first time. I'm excited about that. I'm
not excited. I'm like psyched. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go.
Dude,
I've been so many cups of coffee.
Well, yeah. How else is this show's run on? It's run on coffee and our goodwill towards each other. It's run on coffee and sarcasm.
Who's
That's
Goodwill?
Goodwill Hunting. It was a movie.
Okay. About a Boston. Really? You have to bring it back to Boston, don't you? Every chance you get.
Why wouldn't I? Hey, I did finally get some good news on the Red Sox. They hired John Farrell as the new manager. John used to be the pitching coach of Terry Francona. He went up and managed in Toronto, and now he's back, so that's good for me. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I don't care. You realize this is football season, right?
Yeah.
Look, neither one of our teams are in the World Series.
I know,
right now.
but Detroit, we've talked about this before. We both root for the American League when our team's out.
Correct.
We love the game of baseball overall.
Correct.
We're obviously fans for our teams. And so I'm upset that the Tigers are down 2-0 to the Giants, who all of a sudden their pitching showed up.
Well, Barry Zito, he was a former Athletic, so
Right.
I'll go ahead and let Oakland take credit for making him what he is now in the World Series.
It's been good games. It'll be fun to see how it ends.
I can't believe Verlander got shelled.
Dude, that's the worst I've seen him pitch in a long time. I mean, the Giants had his number.
It's almost like he was throwing the game, but like not pitching.
Are we going to get into a conspiracy?
No, I said it's almost as if.
So
I didn't say they're going to make another movie, One Man Out or something.
So I was reading through the news this week as we do.
You were?
Yeah, I tried
thought
to
you
do that.
get it like on.
I found it.
You call audiobooks reading. So I need to find out from you. Were you listening to a news station?
No,
Did you
reading.
actually read
I was
a
actually
periodical?
reading for once.
Okay.
I have a couple different ones I just want to talk about briefly. Greg Abbott, the Attorney General in Texas. Have you heard?
Was he in? He had a partner, Costello.
Yeah, and they were in movies and they were really funny.
A long time ago.
And then he became the AG of Texas, apparently.
Weird. Okay.
Back then, though, he went by Bud Abbott. But I mean, when you get into politics, you got to go by your real name. Even though Sonny Bono didn't, but that's all right. No, actually, I think you did. Either way.
It doesn't matter.
So I've been hearing a lot about the UN sending people to possibly monitor our elections, which is just mind-numbing. It's been all over Twitter this week.
Now, I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I know where you're going, and it was awesome. But go ahead.
So, you do know now.
Yes, I know now that, yes.
So it's
you
not,
put it in that context, I know exactly where you're going.
It's not necessarily the UN. It's one of their allied groups. It's called the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. All of a sudden decides that...
I didn't realize we were part of Europe now.
I didn't either.
Huh.
Apparently, they're so worried. I love this. They're so worried about the conservative side of people doing voter intimidation. Don't worry about the liberal side because the Black Panthers a couple of years ago. Don't worry about any of that. They're so worried about the conservatives performing this voter intimidation that I have yet to see, that the UN has partnered with this group or have allowed this group to represent them called the OSCE, and they're going to send out 44 observers to polling places all across the country.
I hope they're at the poll that I go vote at.
I know, me too.
Please be at the poll that I go to vote at.
There's been petitions put out in NAACP, ACLU, a couple other ones saying that they're so worried about the right having these voter intimidation tactics that we need help because our government obviously can't do it. So this group says they're going to show up. The Attorney General in Texas, this Greg Abbott guy, and I applaud him.
Well, hang on. I have one question before you get there. Now, these are foreigners, correct?
Allegedly, they're all from Europe.
So are they here vacationing or do they have visas? Because they're going to be here working, monitoring polls, right? So do they have visas?
Well, I don't know. Will they need visas? Because I don't know if they're a volunteer group or not.
I don't know.
I don't know crap about them because I don't care about them.
That's a good point, but that's why I was asking. I don't know because otherwise I would say we
probably would give them visas because the UN would ask us to, and this administration would say, yeah, give them visas right now.
That's why you need to sign our petition. Go ahead.
That's right. Go to sackheadsradio.com, sign a petition to end our involvement in the United Nations and tell them to get the hell out of our country. It's on the right-hand side of the page. Anyhow.
Right-hand side? Anyways.
Right, both meaning conservative and correct. So,
which is one and the same.
This, the Attorney General in Texas turns around and says, hey, if they impede in any way with our voting or violate any of our laws, I'm going to charge all of them.
Which includes like coming within 100 feet of
100 feet of the
voting,
the polling entrance. Failure to comply with these requirements could subject the OSCE's representatives to criminal prosecution for violating state law. Is that not awesome?
You know what? It's a great letter. It would be even more awesome if they actually arrest one of them.
It would be great. Hey, Texas, of all places, might do it.
Oh no, they would. I absolutely believe that they would. But I think they need to. I think they need to arrest one of them.
You know, and Texas is mad because their voter ID law was rejected by the federal court.
Well, that's such a close state, anyways. That I mean, those electoral votes are really up for grabs. So it's kind of key that law is really being held in check.
Yeah, he had a great quote in here.
Sorry.
I'm trying to look. Oh, no, it was senatorial candidate Connie Mack out of Florida, GOP guy. The very idea that the United Nations, the world body dedicated to diminishing America's role in the world, thank you, I agree, would be allowed, if not encouraged, to install foreigners sympathetic to the likes of Castro, Chavez, Ahmadinejad, and Putin to oversee our elections is nothing short of disgusting. That right there, and that was by this Connie Mack, Florida, sums up the UN. Now, first of all, you look at the last Russian election with Putin.
Wait, this was Connie Mack, right?
Yeah.
His stage name is Connie Linguist. But go ahead.
If you look,
He knows several different languages.
he's very intelligent.
Yeah.
If you look at the elections, I think it was last year when Putin was reelected, everyone said it was a fraud. Where was this group then? You know, why is it that the UN?
Are you seriously asking this question?
I know, it just drives me out of my freaking mind.
You know why?
Why?
Because we don't kick them out of New York.
I know.
Because we don't pull our funding.
We don't, and we should.
We should.
They do. I think we talked about this before. What do we have? Like 60% of the funding in the UN
I
comes
don't
from us.
know.
Some ridiculous amount of money.
It's
but yet,
a lot of money we give them.
and you know what it is they love this administration. The UN does, because this administration is going to give them whatever they want, whenever they want. And
I mean, Clinton's supporting that small arms treaty, and
we're signed on to it allegedly. It's just ridiculous, and they know if Obama gets there, the closer we'll have a world government. The longer he's in there, the more rights will be taken away from our Constitution, and will be overseen by the UN, which is just an absolute atrocity. And anybody that thinks the UN is a good idea is not paying attention. It's out of control.
I need to make an observation.
You make your observation.
We are 11 minutes into the show, and we've already had a heavy discussion.
Yeah.
I don't know who tweeted us that we don't talk about anything for the first.
I don't remember the name.
You know, it's not 30 minutes. Come on, and baseball is absolutely an important topic. It's America's pastime. We're an American show.
Oh man,
we didn't build this.
So you know,
actually, we did build this.
We did build it. I don't care what. I don't have the soundbite up. I don't care what the president says. We did build this. It's just ridiculous. The fact that the UN is once again finding a way to meddle in our affairs, and this is from the Huffington Post. So it's not like I got this story off Huffington Post because I saw a bunch of conservative sites covering this. So then I said, all right, how much? Because usually the other side won't touch it unless they agree to it. So if they're agreeing to it, that means there's a lot there. Especially if Huffington Post to come out with it. It shows me that it's definitely happening.
Oh, no, it's happening. If it wasn't happening, the AG wouldn't send a letter.
No, I wasn't.
And Clinton had to get involved. Hillary had to get involved to mediate the two sides. Oh, no, it's not going to be different than any other year they've done.
Right.
I didn't know they were doing this any other year.
They shouldn't have been.
When did this start?
2008.
Nailed it. No, I don't know. When did it start?
I don't know. I don't have the research on that.
They've been here. They've been here before. That I know. They've been doing this before. And Hillary Clinton had to reassure this attorney general that, oh, no, it's not going to be any different than what they've been before. And the attorney general basically said, yeah, I don't care. Let them come into my state, and I've got a tall tree and a short rope. I mean,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, and this ambassador Genèse Lenislidic, or whatever.
Sounds French.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, hang on. Let me wave a white T-shirt in the air. That's their battle flag.
Saying that Abbott's threat put the state Texas at odds with an agreement between the body and the state authorities. Quote, the threat of criminal sanctions against OSCE/OD, I don't give a damn, observers is unacceptable, says Lindsay.
Then don't break the law.
The United States, like all countries in the OSCE, we're not in the OSCE. Are we part of that? I don't think so.
Apparently.
Has the obligation to invite the ODIHR observers to observe its election.
Yeah, no,
Here's a little hint. We don't want you to get the hell out.
Yeah, we're a sovereign country.
An ambassador, or whatever the hell your name is, Genèse, Lenislidic, blah, 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 Florida, call us, and I'll be glad to debate this with you, because I don't remember us. Unfortunately, we're in the UN, but this group isn't the UN, so we're not a part of them. They work with, they're for the UN, they're paid by the UN, I'm sure.
We may have signed some kind of treaty with them.
Good, unsign the damn thing.
We may have, pull out. You know what? Act like a high school kid and pull out. Seriously. That
was great. Go.
Thanks. Sorry. Look, this is one of those things. We are a sovereign country. Get out. You're not invited to come in. If we have an obligation to do it, then guess what? We're going to go ahead and break our obligation.
And believe me, with Holder and the Attorney General of this country, if there's even any slight allegation of voter intimidation from a conservative towards a liberal or independent, oh my goodness, they're going to be all over him like stink on crap.
Nice one.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Now, hang on a second, because I like what she said. The threat of criminal prosecution is, then guess what? Have your people make sure they don't break our laws.
Right.
Because if they do, they're not diplomats. There's no immunity there. If they break our laws, they're going to be arrested.
Right.
So,
And just so you know,
instead of saying that it's unacceptable, how about you inform your people as to what our laws are, and then you don't have to worry about it.
so she went on, or he went on, I don't even know if it's a male or female, I don't care, to say our observers are required to remain strictly impartial, yeah, okay, and not to intervene in the voting process in any way. They are in the United States to observe these elections, not to interfere with them. BS.
None of your freaking business.
Yeah. So
How's
if you're
that?
just observing, if there is voter intimidation, you can't do anything about it because you said your job's just to observe it.
Well, what are they going to do?
Wait.
Hello, excuse me.
Oh, no, I'm sure they have a direct line to Holder. I'm sure they have a direct line to Holder. That guy with the GOP sign was 99.9 feet away from the voting entrance. I want to have him cited for Texas statute, blah, 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 blah. And stuff like that is going to happen. They're going to be blowing up the Fed saying, oh, we saw this sign within 40 feet, or this guy asked that guy a question when he came out. Again,
and that's why Texas is going to have their troopers there or whoever and be like, with a tape measure.
Yeah.
Here you go.
And Texas doesn't screw around. Most people don't I don't think.
Isn't that like a capital offense? Can't you get the death penalty for being within?
I hope so in Texas. So that's those jackasses.
Okay, enough. Thank you for bringing that up. I did read that earlier today, and I was pissed off and I forgot about it. So that was awesome.
Hey, so you know this war on women that the conservatives have going right now?
Yeah. What about it?
You know the one that doesn't exist, but the left one.
Oh no, it completely exists. Yeah. Remember, you know how the conservatives want to. You know how they trying to. Well, yeah, they're completely anti.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, never mind. I don't know.
So Barack Obama, who pays females in his administration approximately 18% less than he does males. You remember when he was a senator? You remember that guy, Senator Obama?
Yeah.
That turned out great for us. Back in '99.
Oh,
you know this one.
I know. If this is.
I can't scoop you ever, dude.
This is the rape vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. President.
So in '99.
Okay.
He was then Illinois Senator Barack Obama. He was the only
change his name.
state senator to not vote for a bill that would protect sexual assault victims from having their details of their cases released publicly. Long and short, there was a female who was a victim of rape. She learned that the case wasn't sealed. She learned the hard way. And I think it was her attacker's family or her attacker was able to gather her personal information, start using it against her. There was a bill, and it was out of Chicago. There was a bill put out saying, hey, you know what? If someone's a victim of a rape or sexual assault, after the case is closed, it is to be sealed unless somebody petitions the court with justifiable reason to open it and release her information. Every other senator voted, with the exception of then-Senator Barack Obama. But the war on women is done by the conservatives. Are you absolutely kidding me? And he just voted president. So it wasn't even like he wasn't there and he was like, hey, I just missed a day. I was out sick or whatever. He was there, just voted president, did not actually vote for it. Every other senator did. But...
Well, you mean every other senator, you mean every other Republican senator, right?
Every other senator.
But every other conservative.
Every senator.
Oh, every Democratic senator except for him because the Republicans don't like women.
No, everybody voted for it with the exception of him.
I don't get it. What's the joke?
The joke is him.
Yeah, but I don't understand because you can't. I mean, they hate each other. They can't vote together on anything. So who voted against it?
What?
Yeah, who Democrats or Republicans? Who voted?
He was the only one to not vote a yay vote for it.
For the Democrats.
Stop. It's everybody.
So everybody except him.
Yeah, everyone except for him. Everyone who was in Senate, left and right, that was one of the times that they all agreed and said, hey, you know what, this isn't right. Our victims cannot be re-victimized after the fact. I absolutely agree with it. I think the law is understandable. Apparently, so did 99 other people.
Okay.
So he's 1 out of 100 of thinking that sexual assault victims should have their information released. That was a poll that was done that day. He was the 1%.
He's a 1%er.
He's a 1%er.
That's why he rose to the top. Okay, he rose to the top. He's president of the United States. I think less than 1% can do that, and so that fits. I don't understand what your problem is.
How does he get away with?
Because he's Obama. What do you mean? How does he get away with this?
Everything. Oh, I'm so frustrated by that.
You know what? Yeah, thank you for that. Why don't we take a break? When we come back, we're going to get into the debate. We're actually going to get into the substance of the show a little bit here. But, see, we just wanted to prove to our Twitter fans out there that we can actually talk about something in the first 20 minutes of the show. Thanks for listening.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
How you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Sean and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators. We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
Hey folks, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for making this country and our communities a better and safer place. God bless.
Hi, this is Sarah Marie Brenner. You know, we often talk on the Brenner Brief about the fact that there really needs to be an organization to help people at the local level who are interested in running for things like school boards, city council, and other local offices. Well, I think I finally have the solution for you, at least for you women out there. It's called Politigal Network, Politigal Network.com. Their website's going to be launching mid-August, but they're already on Twitter at PoliticalUSA. I encourage you to follow them and become a member. Their goal is to be the #1 resource for conservative women. So if you love freedom, liberty, the United States of America, and politics, check out PoliticalNetwork.com or Twitter at PoliticalUSA.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. If you want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis, that is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sackheads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net. Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sackheads Radio sent you.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women in uniform of the armed forces. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our... God.
You going to mention me this time?
Thank you, Sean. You said mention you, right?
Oh.
You totally need to keep that as an outtake.
Now back to Clint and Sean on Sackheads Radio, radiating elegancy and quality.
Have I told you that Chris Matthews is the biggest douchebag I think I've ever...
Well, yeah, you and everybody else.
Did you see his latest with the kid?
No.
Out in front of the debate?
No.
Okay, so Chris Matthews is there, and he's going down the line of some people, and I say kid, he was probably in his early 20s, and he asks him, "Who are you going to vote for?" And the kid says Romney, and Chris Matthews says, "Why is that?" And he said something to the effect of, because Obama is responsible for a cover-up or was dishonest with the people, something to that effect. I don't have the clip downloaded. And he says, well, what cover-up is that? And the kid says, about Libya, the attack on Libya. It was a terrorist attack. And Matthews says, it was about a video, read a newspaper, completely condescending, just a total jerk to this kid.
Let me guess, we didn't give him a chance to respond.
Oh, of course not. He's a coward. He's a coward. So, and then, not then, I think this came first, Chris Matthews accused anybody who supports Romney and believes that Romney won the debates because they're racist. Now, if people, if in Chris Matthews' mind, if people support Romney because they're racist and not based on his ideas,
right?
If he has that thought in his head that people support people because not based on ideas but because of race, does that mean that he's really a conservative? Because he's follow my logic here. Because he's not supporting Obama because of his ideals.
No.
Otherwise, it would stand to reason that he would believe other people also support who they support based on ideals. But he doesn't think that.
No, he certainly does not.
So is it possible that he supports Obama based on race and not based on ideals?
I think he supports Obama and the left no matter what.
Okay.
He would sell his soul to the devil.
He probably already has.
I.e. the left in this.
I'm pretty sure he already has sold his soul to somebody. I don't think he has a soul anymore. It may have been taken away at some point, or maybe he never had one. Maybe he's like just a body, just kind of like walking around with no brain. And
anyone who's ever watched his show has his format figured out pretty quick. It's real simple. If you don't agree with him, he yells at you until the end of the clip. He doesn't let you get a point in, a word in edgewise. He's insulting. He's condescending. As we've said before, he's a total douchebag.
That's because he can't win an argument on merit or logic.
No, there's no intellectual ability.
No.
So he just screams until it goes to break, and then after the person's off the air, he tears them up for a few more minutes, and everybody on the left is applauding and hailing him the next day as this genius.
Which I don't understand how. The left likes to champion themselves as, defenders of ideals and being so tolerant of everybody. He is one of the most intolerant, ignorant people I think I've ever heard or listened to.
Well,
because he can't. His arguments are all based on emotion and from a political standpoint, as opposed to looking at something in a logical way. So we are declaring intellectual war on Chris Matthews because he is such a douchebag. I think that people need to be defended from him because he's just such a bully. And
I agree with you. He's a total bully.
Show, I don't know. Chris Matthews, if you're listening, although I doubt you ever would listen to this show.
If anyone's listening right now,
who knows
this show to Chris Matthews,
and
call him, let him know.
We challenge you to a live, on-air debate on the principles of this country and why those principles are still germane today, as well as constitutional knowledge and debate because of your ignorant statement about how it's unconstitutional basically for Romney to interrupt Obama.
Right, well, obviously, we talked about that last week. That's such a constitutional violation.
Yeah. Chris, the ignoramus
I was
Matthews.
waiting for the Secret Service. Wow.
Yeah, you like it?
That just rolled off your tongue.
It did. That's we have Pistol Grip Pelosi and we have the ignoramus, Chris Matthews.
Forever known as the ignoramus. Can't even say it.
I feel like we're in a bad Looney Tunes episode.
Oh, dude. The two of them together would be great if they came onto the air at the same time. But
Wabbit season.
Duck season. Wabbit season. Fire! It's just absolutely ridiculous. People love him. That's what drives me insane.
No.
The left, far left, uber
progressive lunatic,
insane folks
love him.
Because I'm sure that even your run-of-the-mill Democrats have to watch him and go, "What an ass!"
Oh yeah, I know.
His face is more of a tomato than mine is, and mine's pretty tomatoey.
I know several Democrats that cannot stand him. I don't know, maybe it's the way he carries himself. He just has one of those faces.
Oh yeah, he's just
that you just can't stand.
I'll tell you.
Anyways,
he looked at Tim Russert and said, "No, I can't do it that way because the way he does it's intelligent and well-spoken. He has actual valid points. How am I going to get my niche? Oh, I know. I'll just scream at everyone like a babbling buffoon, and everyone will turn on the air and they all come on. Yay! He's so smart. He's an idiot."
He's a complete idiot. Okay. Did you catch the debates?
I did.
We need to get. We have a lot.
I know we have a lot to talk about. I'm sorry.
Including Our next segment.
So war has been declared.
I'm very, very impressed. Intellectual war.
Intellectual war has been declared
with Chris Matthews.
And it said, anyone who knows Chris, let them know.
Yeah. I'm sure he's really worried about our 3 listeners and us.
Hey, you know what? We're a party of many. I don't say how many, just many.
Just many. It's more than one.
We're like the new Wolverines, to steal a quote from our friend Rooster over at Conservative Outcry.
Did he call us that?
All of us together as a group, as a whole. Anyone who's still going to go into the hills if Obama's reelected, he's calling us the Wolverines. Oh, I love Rooster. He kills me.
Did you catch the debates?
I did catch the debate.
What did you think?
I thought the last one was probably the most interesting as far as hearing people talk.
People meaning pundits?
No. The pundits, you know what they're going to say before the debate's over.
Right.
MSNBC, CNN, Obama won. CBS, Obama won, you know.
Fox, Romney won.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not even worth it. I did see it. I thought they both were on their game. It's hard to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't say which game.
Okay.
I thought Romney missed a few opportunities to really hammer a few things home. I know everyone said that he was trying to seem like the kinder, gentler, non-warmongering guy, but I didn't think he hit Libya hard enough.
I don't think so either, although with everything, and we'll get to this later on in the show, with everything that came out today,
he may not have needed
just
to.
this week.
Yeah.
I don't know that he needed to, and we'll get more into that.
It makes you wonder if he has more information than we do, obviously.
I was actually shocked that how condescending Obama was. I literally, and it was early on the debate, I was watching, and I had my notepad and my pen out, and I'm listening to the debate, and when Obama, first of all, erroneously quoted Romney by saying that Romney thought that Russia was the biggest threat to the United States.
Right.
When he was talking about geopolitical threat. In the original quote, that's what Romney was talking about. Romney clarified that. But Obama said something to the effect of the 80s called, they want their foreign policy back. Are you, first of all, I haven't heard that joke in like a decade, so good job there.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I know what that was. You know who wrote that joke? Biden did. Biden wrote that joke and was like, "Hey, you know what? This will hit a home run every time."
Yeah,
I used this in the '80s and it worked then. It'll work now.
I think everybody over the age of 20 probably did what I did. My head cocked to the side like a German Shepherd puppy, looking at like you making a high pitched noise
at the RCA.
Yeah, you know, I cocked my head to the side, and it took me a second to process. Like, did the President of the United States really just say in a presidential debate that 80s called they want their foreign policy back?
You mean the guy who has a commercial out right now pretty much telling young women that if you're going to use your first vote, like your virginity, use it for Obama? You wondering if that guy wouldn't come out there and say it?
That ad was not out then, but I was stunned. And then when he talked about so condescending the way he was again with, you know, we have these things, these ships that airplanes land on.
I actually have that whole exchange.
Play it.
Okay.
Let's talk about military spending, and that's this.
Our Navy
is older. Excuse me. Our Navy is smaller now than any time since 1917. The Navy said they needed 313 ships to carry out their mission. We're now down to 285. We're headed down to the low 200s if we go through with sequestration. That's unacceptable to me. I want to make sure that we have the ships that are required by our Navy. Our Air Force is older and smaller than any time since it was founded in 1947. We've changed for the first time since FDR. Since FDR, we've always had the strategy of saying we could fight in 2 conflicts at once. Now we're changing to 1 conflict. Look, this, in my view, is the highest responsibility of the President of the United States, which is to maintain the safety of the American people. And I will not cut our military budget by $1 trillion, which is the combination of the budget cuts that the President has, as well as the sequestration cuts. That, in my view, is making our future less certain and less secure.
Bob, I just need to comment on this.
Now,
First
stop
of all,
right there. Pause it if you can.
Not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress.
Go ahead.
Okay. So a couple things in there that a lot of people missed in this quote, at least the shows that I've seen and I've watched.
Mm-hmm.
When Obama hits him, Romney said a couple things that Obama kind of glossed over in his response, and I want to bring this up. First of all, Romney said the Navy said they need 15 ships to carry out their mission. So this is today's standards. The Navy said they need 315 ships to carry out their mission. We're now down to 285, I think he said. He then talks about the Air Force, where he says our Air Force now is not just smaller, but our Air Force now is older and smaller than it has been since.
Age is a big deal when you talk about.
So he's not talking about anything about capability or about we're more advanced, because what he said is the Air Force is older and smaller, not smaller but more advanced.
Right.
Older and smaller, and per the Navy they need now this number of ships, regardless of technology. So that's taking technology into account.
And this administration has recently cut a lot of military funding, including our newest Gen 4 jet fighters.
Yes. And he then says, hey, we used to be capable of handling 2 conflicts at one time. We're able to handle 1 conflict now. So I wanted to point that out before we get Obama's reaction, because Obama focuses only on size and scope and says, goes into this whole thing about technology, how we do more with less. Well, hey, knucklehead, he wasn't talking about more with less. What he was talking about was this is what the current needs are. This is the current state of the Air Force. So go ahead and play Obama's reaction.
Okay.
Fewer horses and bayonets, because the nature of our military's changed. We have these things called aircraft carriers where planes land on them. We have these ships that go underwater, nuclear submarines. And so the question is not a game of battleship where we're counting ships. It's what are our capabilities? And so when I sit down with the Secretary of the Navy and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, we determine how are we going to be best able to meet all of our defense needs in a way that also keeps faith with our troops, that also makes sure that our veterans have the kind of support that they need when they come home. And that is not reflected in the kind of budget that you're putting forward, because it just doesn't work.
All right.
And, we visited the website quite a bit, and it still doesn't work.
Just what a condescending.
Yeah.
I tell you, if I had a kid that talked to me that way, we have these ships and airplanes land on them. It's called an aircraft carrier, or these ships that go underwater. They're called nuclear submarines.
He's the leader of the free world.
He's the leader of the free world. He's the president of the United States. And I don't know what it is with this administration. Joe Biden conducting himself during his debate in a way which is completely beneath the office of the vice president.
Totally.
The president of the United States conducting himself worse than a high school debater.
Yes.
I don't see that in high school debate competitions.
Well, when he did
just completely ridiculous.
When he did something like that, I immediately went back to the Al Gore George Bush debate, where Gore would just sigh over Bush repeatedly, just nonstop to try to interrupt his. It's so childish. It says, I don't have a point to prove, but I'm not going to let you prove yours.
It's not even that. It's that I don't respect you at all, and so I am going to completely put you down and make you look like and treat you like a complete idiot.
Well, he wants the idiot vote, though. That's what it is. He wants the idiot vote.
He has the idiot vote.
I know.
Already. So that's a demographic he doesn't need to play to. He needs to start getting independents and other people back in line with him if he wants to win this election. So I thought that was completely ridiculous and how he conducted himself. Whereas Romney, he didn't get as aggressive on a couple things, and I understand why he did not. However,
I understand now.
Yeah.
With the information that came out, I understand. That night, I was yelling at the TV.
I did for the first 15, 20 minutes of the debate, and then I kind of saw that it's just where he was going to go this debate. And I saw how Obama was acting and the contrast between the two, and I saw how it could play okay for him. He still could have gotten a little harder on a couple issues, but I see why he did it. But I still wish, and I said it on the vice presidential debate, I still wish Romney would have, as soon as Obama made a snide comment like that, just say, Mr. President, you and I are both adults. We can have an intelligent disagreement. We can have an intelligent debate and discussion on the points. You don't need to talk down to me or to try and put me down or to speak to me as though I'm a child or that I'm not very intelligent. We can treat each other with dignity and respect, and I think also in turn that's the respect that the office of President of the United States should portray. But I think if he said something like that, exactly like that, it would call Obama on his BS,
right,
and set the tone. Again, Romney could have been very polite, very matter of fact, and put Obama on notice.
Isn't it kind of one of those things too, though, that by him not even addressing it, listen, they tell you with children, they tell you even with dogs a lot of times, just ignore the bad behavior. Don't even let it act like it happens.
Okay, I believe in spanking.
I agree too.
Okay.
But I agree even with dogs sometimes, and I know I'm going to get lit up for this analogy right now.
You are.
But, I mean, dogs sometimes, like when they jump up, you just kind of throw the knee and turn away type thing.
He didn't throw the knee.
But he didn't throw the knee. He just turned away. And I agree that he should have been stronger on that. I think he was trying to take the high road. Listen, I think a lot of people leading up to this one, the foreign debate policy, is he's warmongering. He's warmongering. He's a warmongering. The right's all warmongers. I think he was trying to get away from that.
Okay.
And he could have,
but saying
made your statement
thank you
easily.
Yes.
He didn't do it. And I don't know. I wasn't happy about that either.
I think he should put a political ad out saying, is this how you want your president of the United States to conduct himself? Is this how a president should act? And then just an ad making those just ridiculous statements. Because I'll tell you, you know who thought that statement was cool?
Chris Matthews?
Yes. Other than that, DB, I talked to a few high school students.
Oh yeah.
One of them right out of high school and into college.
Yep, absolutely.
Who thought that was a great
line.
man,
he dissed him.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, but it wasn't presidential. It don't matter.
Yeah, but as soon as I said that, it was yeah. Hey, that's something one of your friends would say, right?
Is that the guy you want leading us?
Is that something you expect your father to say? No. Is that something you expect your teacher or your professor to say? Somebody in a position of trust and leadership,
right?
The president of the United States, and then it kind of sunk in.
Did they then go back into mom's basement?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I wish he'd taken a harder stance on that, but I think he had a game plan going in. He wasn't going to get away from it. I think he kind of, I may be giving him too much credit. I think he wanted Obama to look like an ass.
Well, he succeeded. But he didn't need to do anything. Obama looked like an ass, I think, on his own, and I think that hurt him in the polls. You know, Obama conducted himself not as though he were the incumbent president who was actually in decent control, but he conducted himself like a candidate who was behind, behind, and needed to kind of make this ground up in the polls. They discussed Israel. And
they did.
And I think we have those clips.
Yeah, the first one's going to be Obama's response, and the question from Schieffer you'll hear.
Either of you, and you'll have 2 minutes, and President Obama, you have the first go at this one. Would either of you be willing to declare that an attack on Israel is an attack on the United States, which, of course, is the same promise that we give to our close allies like Japan? And if you made such a declaration, would not that deter Iran? It's certainly deterred the Soviet Union for a long, long time when we made that promise to our allies. Mr. President.
Well, first of all, Israel is a true friend. It is our greatest ally in the region. And if Israel is attacked, America will stand with Israel. I've made that clear throughout my presidency.
So you're saying we've already made that declaration?
I will stand with Israel if they are attacked. And this is the reason why, working with Israel, we have created the strongest military and intelligence cooperation between our 2 countries in history. In fact, this week, we'll be carrying out the largest military exercise with Israel in history, this very week. But to the issue of Iran, as long as I'm President of the United States, Iran will not get a nuclear weapon. I made that clear when I came into office. We then organized the strongest coalition and the strongest sanctions against Iran in history, and it is crippling their economy. Their currency has dropped 80%. Their oil production has plunged to the lowest level since they were fighting a war with Iraq 20 years ago. So their economy is in a shambles. And the reason we did this is because a nuclear Iran is a threat to our national security, and it's a threat to Israel's national security. We cannot afford to have a nuclear arms race in the most volatile region of the world. Iran's a state sponsor of terrorism, and for them to be able to provide nuclear technology to non-state actors, that's unacceptable. And they have said that they want to see Israel wiped off the map. So the work that we've done with respect to sanctions now offers Iran a choice. They can take the diplomatic route and end their nuclear program, or they will have to face a united world and a United States president, me, who said we're not going to take any options off the table. The disagreement I have with Governor Romney is that during the course of this campaign, he's often talked as if we should take premature military action. I think that would be a mistake, because when I've sent young men and women into harm's way, I always understand that that is the last resort, not the first resort.
Okay. So I don't have a major problem with Obama saying that he disagrees with Governor Romney sending troops in earlier than he would. I don't have a problem with that. Something interesting that Obama said is that if Israel is attacked, then the United States would stand with them. Not that the United States does stand with Israel. If they are attacked, we will commit our military to assist them in that confrontation. I thought that was an interesting choice of words.
I agree.
Another interesting choice of words is Iran will not get a nuclear weapon. Not Iran will not complete the uranium enriching process. Not Iran will not build their own weapon system. Iran will not get a nuclear weapon. And I don't know if that was just how he says things, but he's a very intelligent man. He knows how to word things. He knows
fundamentally change
the
country.
He understands.
He just didn't say the what.
He understands what things mean. And so I think if he were going to say, hey, Iran's not going to finish processing the uranium, he would have said that. What he said is they're not going to get a weapon. They're not going to enrich uranium. They're not just. So I thought that was interesting also in that regard. What do you think?
Again, I agree with you in the sense that he worded it appropriately. The problem that I always have is whenever Iran comes up, they always talk about the weapons-grade uranium enriching the yellow cake. They don't talk about once that's completed, if you don't stop that, the actual actuator for the nuclear weapon, the tip that goes in the missile, they can make in a room no bigger than our studio. And once they enrich that uranium and put it into one of their medium-range missiles, which they have, to activate that weapon, to make the device is easy. It's all technology. It's not a big deal.
You know, and another
and that's ignored all the time.
Another fundamental flaw in the president's policy towards Iran is this: they are not going to bow to sanctions and to diplomatic means. Ahmadinejad wants to bring about the coming of the 12th Imam. If you don't believe this, and if you think that I'm just a conspiracy theorist, or if you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, look it up. Look up what sect of Islam Ahmadinejad is. Look up what their belief system is. They believe that they need to bring about the coming of the 12th Imam, complete chaos and war. They need to bring that about in order for their prophecies and their religious beliefs to come to fruition.
Right.
They've been waiting for this. They need to create this, according to them. They are not going to bow to diplomatic sanctions because this is a core tenet of what they believe in their religious, and they are fanatics. I mean, we are at a holy war. They have made jihad upon us. We've demonstrated where we've been attacked by Muslim extremists dating back to the founding of our country and the pirates out of Tripoli and enslaving Westerners and so forth, and the conversations that took place between the Pasha and Jefferson and Adams. So this is nothing new. They're not going to stop just because we're imposing sanctions, especially when you're talking about a country that feels that they need to bring about the coming of the 12th Imam and cause this utter and complete chaos and mass destruction. So how he doesn't understand that, or he fails to believe it, or he fails to study it, whatever it is, he's the President of the United States. He should understand the underlying fundamental principles, the underlying belief system of what the radicals truly believe in order to protect our country and our citizens. And since we are all over the rest of the world, not that we necessarily need to be, we need to protect Israel and assist Israel in that. We need to understand their motivations, and this administration does not.
I couldn't agree more. They just don't get it. They
either don't get it, or they don't believe it, or he is so full of himself and so egotistical that he believes he can change it.
Everybody loves him. He thinks, and he's talked about it in interviews before, how everybody around the world, how the perception of America was changed when he came to office.
He believes the press of him being the Messiah. I believe
he's not far from it.
He believes his own press.
In his opinion.
I believe he absolutely believes his own press.
Well, and it's funny because he still didn't come out and say, yes, if Israel's attack, I would take that as an attack on America.
No, he did not. Let's get to Romney's response on Israel.
2 minutes.
Well, first of all, I want to underscore the same point the President made, which is that if I'm President of the United States, when I'm President of the United States, we will stand with Israel. And if Israel is attacked, we have their back, not just diplomatically, not just culturally, but militarily. That's number one. Number two, with regards to Iran and the threat of Iran. There's no question but that a nuclear Iran, a nuclear-capable Iran, is unacceptable to America. It presents a threat not only to our friends, but ultimately a threat to us, to have Iran have nuclear material, nuclear weapons that could be used against us or to use to be threatening to us. It's also essential for us to understand what our mission is in Iran, and that is to dissuade Iran from having a nuclear weapon through peaceful and diplomatic means. And crippling sanctions are something I called for 5 years ago when I was in Israel speaking at the Herzliya conference. I laid out 7 steps. Crippling sanctions were number one, and they do work. You're seeing it right now in the economy. It's absolutely the right thing to do to have crippling sanctions. I'd have put them in place earlier, but it's good that we have them. Number two, something I would add today is I would tighten those sanctions. I would say that ships that carry Iranian oil can't come into our ports. I imagine the EU would agree with us as well. Not only ships couldn't, I'd say companies that are moving their oil can't, people who are trading in their oil can't. I would tighten those sanctions further. Secondly, I'd take on diplomatic isolation efforts. I'd make sure that Ahmadinejad is indicted under the Genocide Convention.
So it was, I wish he would have said yes. If Israel's attacked, I again wish he would have said that. I think if he just said that and then went into it, it would have been a much stronger response. No, but again, I think he's staying away from that warmongering thing. But
how's that warmongering? Do you stand with Israel? Yes.
Exactly. It's not warmongering.
Yes, we do.
To people that pay attention.
Yes, we do. That wouldn't. I hope that's not the case. I pray that doesn't happen. I voted for crippling sanctions. Blah blah blah. Again, crippling sanctions. Okay, crippling sanctions I like better than sanctions.
Because sanctions ain't worked yet, and they're not going to.
No. So crippling sanctions. If that doesn't work, guess what, folks? I don't like war. I'm not a huge fan of war. Sometimes war is necessary, and you know what? That's one when I believe our men and women in uniform would understand that mission,
especially to protect our friend Israel, who is our friend,
and us. They've talked about destroying little Satan and the great Satan.
Oh yeah, all together.
Guess what, folks? We are the great Satan, according to them.
Funny thing, did you? I don't know if you picked up
like haha funny or funny.
Just ironical.
Okay,
which is a word. There was a Sudanese weapons factory that was bombed yesterday, and it's owned by the Revolutionary Guard in Iran. It just happens to be in Sudan. It's believed to be making weapons for Hamas. And
you didn't say it right. It's Hamas.
Sorry.
It's okay. You have that Boston accent.
Yeah, it's hard for me to really get through. So, weird how that didn't make the news, huh? It's at a few places, but it went away quick.
Who took credit for it?
Israel's not saying anything, but the Sudanese government...
Hey, America, did you do that? No. Israel's standing there, like, looking left and right.
They said that the technology used was just so far advanced that it has to be one of the bigger nations, and Israel is their first stop with that. So I thought that was interesting on the heels of that discussion.
So it might have been us?
It could have been us. I doubt it was us. I think it was Israel. Because they make the small arms. This weapons factory in Sudan made the small arms for Hamas, which is right there.
Hamas.
I can't say it. I'll throw up.
Okay.
I have a gag reflex.
I'll say it for you. So just when you're ready to say it, just point to me and I'll say it for you.
I'll end up choking on myself, and it'll be 5 minutes of me trying to clear my throat while I'm trying to say it. My vocal cords, I grew up in Boston. I can barely speak the same language as the rest of everyone.
Yeah, no, I actually, the only way I can hear you is because I have my smartphone out with the translator.
The translator app?
And I'm actually reading your words as you speak so that I can respond to you.
Oh, man. So,
Hamas.
But I wish either one of them, and more importantly, I wish Rami came out and said, you know what, I stand with Israel. If they get attacked, it's like us, and we'll stand with them to the end because they are one of our closest allies, if not our closest ally. And this administration's done nothing but divide us and push them further away.
Well, Romney did touch on that. He said when he talked about the Middle East tour that the president took.
Right.
He said, and by the way, you missed Israel. And by the way, everybody noticed.
Right.
So,
and you wouldn't even meet with Bibi Netanyahu at the UN a couple months ago, but you had plenty of time to do Letterman.
Right. Hey, does he make the women's clothing, Bibi?
No, I think it's a different Bibi.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they were just all fans of him or something. Because I see that walking around.
I can understand why they're fans of him. I've said this before. I think Bibi Netanyahu is a brilliant man. I think he's a great leader, and you know what? I wish Obama was half the leader as he was. It is. Because I think Netanyahu is he's a great leader that sticks up for his nation. His nation always comes first. He doesn't care who that offends. It doesn't bother him to say it. His people are important and his allies are important. That alone would be huge if this president could even mutter those words. But unlike me saying Hamas.
Nice one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think if he said words like that, he would probably fall to the ground.
Said words like Hamas?
No, what I just said.
Oh, okay.
As the president, I think he would fall down.
You know what? If this president believed that and felt that way and believed it in this country, even though I may disagree with some of his policies, some of his agenda, I would have a lot more respect.
Absolutely.
And actually take a second look at him and giving him a second term. But he doesn't believe that way, as evidenced by that YouTube video from his inauguration where his wife says, all of this for a damn flag, and he has that disgusted look on his face and nods his head.
I still think he'd need to be voted out for so many other reasons, but I'd give him credit for having that sort of approach. But he doesn't. All he does is apologize for our values.
I would give a second look. I didn't say I'd actually look for very long. They did discuss China?
They did discuss China, and we'll have Obama first on China.
Of China and future challenges for America. I want to just begin this by asking both of you, and Mr. President, you go first this time. What do you believe is the greatest future threat to the national security of this country?
Well, I think it will continue to be terrorist networks. We have to remain vigilant, as I just said. But with respect to China, China's both an adversary but also a potential partner in the international community if it's following the rules. So my attitude coming into office was that we are going to insist that China plays by the same rules as everybody else. And I know Americans had seen jobs being shipped overseas, businesses and workers not getting a level playing field when it came to trade. And that's the reason why I set up a trade task force to go after cheaters when it came to international trade. That's the reason why we have brought more cases against China for violating trade rules than the previous administration had done in 2 terms. And we've won just about every case that we filed that has been decided. In fact, just recently, steel workers in Ohio and throughout the Midwest, Pennsylvania, are in a position now to sell steel to China because we won that case. We had a tire case in which they were flooding us with cheap domestic tires or cheap Chinese tires. And we put a stop to it. and as a consequence, save jobs throughout America. I have to say that Governor Romney criticized me for being too tough in that tire case. Said this wouldn't be good for American workers and that it would be protectionist. But I tell you, those workers don't feel that way. They feel as if they had finally an administration who was going to take this issue seriously. Over the long term, in order for us to compete with China, we've also got to make sure, though, that we're taking care of business here at home. If we don't have the best education system in the world, if we don't continue to put money into research and technology that will allow us to create great businesses here in the United States, that's how we lose the competition. And unfortunately, Governor Romney's budget and his proposals would not allow us to make those investments.
All right. We don't have money to invest
at all, ever, right now. We just don't.
There's no money to invest. Let me get this straight. You're going to kill the space program and then talk about how awesome the Muslims were because they helped us so much get to the moon. Oh, wait, it wasn't them. But so you're going to kill the space program and invest in what? And have another stimulus package? We don't have the money. We have no money.
No, we do. We just keep printing it.
We're broke.
Yeah. We're less than broke. We have more debt than we know what to do with.
I'll tell you what, Mr. President, I'll make you a deal. Not that it's my place, but if I were Congress, I'm going to pretend I'm Congress right now. I'll make you a deal, Mr. President. You stop funding the UN and giving money to places that really want to kill us in the Middle East, and then maybe we can invest in some of this other stuff. And by the way, you want to invest in education that's not a federal job, sorry.
Well,
not the job of the federal government.
Somebody did want to correct you on our space program. NASA was actually sold to the Russians, and now they operate in Arizona. So,
perfect.
You need to be straightened out. That came from the chat room.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't realize NASA was owned by the Russians right now. I know they're carrying our astronauts up to the International Space Station, which we had a huge chunk of funding.
So
wait a sec. Is it no longer the National Air and Space?
It should be the International Air and Space.
Or should it just be the Russian? So is it RASA?
I don't know.
The Russian Aeronautical Space...
Listen, this isn't in the show prep notes. You can't do that to me.
I didn't. Somebody in the chat room did.
Here's Romney's
Maybe they were being
on China.
Governor, well, first of all, it's not government that makes business successful. It's not government investments that make businesses grow and hire people. Let me also note that the greatest threat that the world faces, the greatest national security threat, is a nuclear Iran. Let's talk about China. China has an interest that's very much like ours in one respect, and that is they want a stable world. They don't want war. They don't want to see protectionism. They don't want to see the world break out into various forms of chaos because they have to manufacture goods and put people to work. They have about 20 million people coming out of the farms every year, coming into the cities, needing jobs. So they want the economy to work and the world to be free and open. And so we can be a partner with China. We don't have to be an adversary in any way, shape, or form. We can work with them. We can collaborate with them if they're willing to be responsible. Now, they look at us and say, is it a good idea to be with America? How strong are we going to be? How strong is our economy? They look at the fact that we owe them $1 trillion and owe other people $16 trillion in total, including them. They look at our decision to cut back on our military capabilities. $1 trillion. The Secretary of Defense called these $1 trillion of cuts to our military devastating. It's not my term. It's the President's own Secretary of Defense called them devastating. They look at America's commitments around the world and they see what's happening and they say, well, okay, is America going to be strong? And the answer is yes. If I'm President, America will be very strong. We'll also make sure that we have trade relations with China that work for us. I've watched year in and year out as companies have shut down and people have lost their jobs because China has not played by the same rules, in part by holding down artificially the value of their currency. It holds down the prices of their goods. It means our goods aren't as competitive and we lose jobs. That's got to end. They're making some progress. They need to make more. That's why on day one I will label them a currency manipulator, which allows us to apply tariffs where they're taking jobs. They're stealing our intellectual property, our patents, our designs, our technology, hacking into our computers, counterfeiting our goods. They have to understand We want to trade with them. We want a world that's stable. We like free enterprise, but you got to play by the rules.
Well, Governor.
So, you know what? I used to manipulate currency. There were mostly $1 bills when I was in college at the tip rail, but that's a completely different story.
Well, and it's one of those things where Romney says, hey, you know what? I'd love to be an ally with China, and I'd like to work with them as long as they actually do what they're supposed to be doing and not screwing around with everything and making an unfair advantage.
I want to remind China of something.
Okay.
I want to take this opportunity, and I want to remind China of, do you remember a group called the Flying Tigers?
Yes.
Do you remember, China, how we saved your ass?
Yeah.
Okay, I was
playing the part of China in that little role play you had going there.
Yeah, no, I know, I got it. I just wanted to bring that up to you.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Yeah, no. Listen, when it comes to China, and I think Romney's right. Hey, I don't mind trading with you. I don't mind working with you. The Chinese understand show of force and strength, and that's one of those things where he's like, hey, I'm not going to have a weak military and expect them not to play ball, because if they call our bluff, we're in trouble. And number two, they know that China loves to play these games, change money around. He's like, hey, yeah, I'll absolutely let you play until you screw around, and then it's game over is how I took that. It was very strong, and that's something – it shouldn't matter who owns our debt, because they shouldn't own our debt. We should own our debt.
We shouldn't have debt.
Exactly.
And the founders warned us against that, particularly Washington. But here's the thing. He's right. When there's a major trade imbalance with China, China needs us more than we need them. We buy a lot more of China's crap than they buy of ours. They're going to stand to lose a lot of money in that trade agreement. Hey, we got to get to a break.
We're way behind.
When we come back, interesting topic. We're going to do some electoral analysis. Some of the analysis has been discussed on a couple other places, or at least a potential possibility. However, some of the analysis that I have here, I haven't heard discussed anywhere else, and mostly it's because I don't listen to any other shows other than ours. I'm kidding. I'm completely kidding. I haven't heard discussed before in the way we're going to discuss it, and some of the numbers that was able to crunch and put together, checking out the electoral maps. So when we come back, it'll be an interesting discussion. Please join us.
How you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Sean and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators. We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
Hey folks, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for making this country and our communities a better and safer place. God bless.
Hi, this is Sarah Marie Brenner. You know, we often talk on the Brenner Brief about the fact that there really needs to be an organization to help people at the local level who are interested in running for things like school boards, city council, and other local offices. Well, I think I finally have the solution for you, at least for you women out there. It's called Politigal Network, Politigal Network.com. Their website's going to be launching mid-August, but they're already on Twitter at PolitigalUSA. I encourage you to follow them and become a member. Their goal is to be the #1 resource for conservative women. So if you love freedom, liberty, the United States of America, and politics, check out PolitigalNetwork.com or Twitter at PolitigalUSA.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. If you want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis, that is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sack Heads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sack Kids Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sack Kids Radio sent you.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women in uniform of the armed forces. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our... God.
You going to mention me this time?
Thank you, Sean. You said mention you, right?
Oh.
You totally need to keep that as an outtake.
Now back to Clint and Sean on Sackheads Radio, radiating elegancy and quality.
That is us. We do radiate elegancy and quality.
Well, I'm elegancy, you're quality.
No, I think it's the other way around.
Is it really?
Yeah, you're the quality. I'm
You
the
look
elegancy
great in the
on the
evening
show.
gown.
Thank
By the
you.
way,
Well,
when you put your hair up.
Show. Most people don't realize that, but I dress up for the show. So
I like
my
it.
hair is up. What hair?
The stuff from your back.
Right.
Yeah, when you put it up like in a beehive. You know?
What are you doing over there? You getting excited over my hair?
Yeah, I threw
all right,
my headset off and everything.
God, we got to move. We're so far behind. If you called in 347-205-9399, we'll try to get you. I promise. This is huge, and I'm going to throw this over.
It's huge, really.
It's huge. I'm throwing this over to you because this is your brainchild, and
it's simple analysis, and I've heard a couple of these things discussed previously. However, some of this I have not. So there's currently 11. The general consensus is 11 toss-up states. And those toss-up states are Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Colorado, Iowa, Nevada, New Hampshire, Florida, North Carolina, and Virginia. And a lot of to-do is really being made over Ohio. And I want to get to that later. But I actually believe that Ohio is more critical for Obama than it is for Romney. And I'm gonna tell you why that is here in a little bit. But a lot of what I've been hearing is Romney has to win Ohio. It's critical for Romney to win Ohio because Ohio's predicted the winner since Kennedy. Well, okay, but not before Kennedy, and we'll get to that. But look, you need 270 electoral votes to win. Now, with those 11 states up for grabs, if they are completely up for grabs, with those 11 states in play, there are 171 different combinations that Obama will win. There are 161 different combinations that Romney will win. And there are 32 potential scenarios where the electoral votes will tie, 269 to 269.
How many scenarios?
32.
Wow.
With 11 true toss-up states, there are 32 scenarios where they tie, and I got these numbers and statistics from 270 to Win is a good website, and that's the electoral map that I used to play around to get various combinations, and they have the statistics of 171 for Obama, 161 for Romney, and 32 for a tie. So those are their numbers. I didn't do the math on those. But I did play with various scenarios in the electoral map, and I'll get to those here in a little bit. But what would be interesting in a 269-269 electoral tie is the probable administration we would get, and that would be a Romney-Biden administration.
God help us.
And we'd still have Uncle Joe.
I couldn't deal with Joe for another 4 years.
How great would that be? You know what, though? We would have material.
We would be seriously. We would have so much material for the show. I almost would be willing to give up the material at this point.
So here's what happens. The 12th Amendment of the Constitution was put into place by our founders around 1804. And
it was passed by Congress in December 9, 1803, and ratified June 15, 1804. You are good at this.
I try. I said I think, so it was around there.
I have a cheat sheet because you're going off the cuff. and I need a cheat sheet.
Look, I'm going off my handwritten notes from a bunch of the scenarios.
It's literally written on your hand. Go on
this week. But here's it's notes, and it's written in pen. Matter of fact, send us a picture of you with a paper sack on your head. I'll sign the production notes and give it to you.
There you go.
Anything.
Fan mail at sackheadsradio.com. Go on.
So in the case of an electoral tie, according to the 12th Amendment, the House of Representatives chooses the President of the United States.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting is each member does not get a vote, but the votes are done by state delegations. So so California, for example, has mostly Democrats in its delegation. Therefore, California would get one vote for, I'm sure they would say, Obama.
Right.
Okay. The Republican Party controls 33 state delegations.
Out of 50.
Correct.
Let me do the math.
Do the math.
17 different.
Negative. Different. the Democrats control 14, and 3 are evenly split.
Okay.
So chances are you will have Romney as president, because what the 12th Amendment says is they vote between the top 3 electoral vote getters. Well, there's only 2 that are going to get electoral votes, so it would be between Romney and Obama. Romney would become president most likely. Now, the Senate chooses the vice president. And the reason it wouldn't be Obama...
Who's the deciding vote if they came to a tie?
Biden.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. So, but here's the thing. Obama would not be the vice president because Obama's electoral votes...
What if he only voted present? I mean, could you just see him screwing that up?
Oh, yeah.
Or just hitting the Nay button by accident?
Oh, damn it. Great. That would be great. So, this
is all malarkey. Damn buttons and everything. I meant to vote for myself, but...
too late. Vote's been cast. Damn it.
Guess they got to put me back in chains.
I'll take the gag ball out of my mouth this time. Now, the reason Obama cannot become vice president is because his electoral votes are for him as president.
Not for vice president.
Not for vice president.
Okay.
The 12th Amendment specifically says that Senate chooses between the top 2 vote getters with electoral votes for vice president, which would be Ryan and Biden. Now, as you've already said, the Democrats control the Senate. They could choose Ryan. I don't know. I mean, maybe they would, maybe they would not. But if the Republicans win enough seats and it's 50-50, again, Biden would be the deciding factor. So there are 32 ways, again, that could happen, or that would put us into that position. This did happen once before. In the election between Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams, where this was actually put in effect. I think it was 1824 election, and you have to get a majority of the electoral votes,
right?
Not just a plurality, not simply more votes than the other candidates, but you have to get a majority of the electoral votes. So back then, in 1824, there were 261 potential electoral votes, which means a candidate, in order to win, needed to get 131 electoral votes. Okay, there were 4 candidates that got electoral votes that year. Andrew Jackson got 99. He was the highest vote getter,
right? Not
131. He got 99. John Quincy Adams, the son of John Adams, got 84 electoral votes, and then you have William Crawford with 41.
I've been to John Quincy Adams train station, if that means anything to you.
It really does.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
It's in Boston. It's not a big deal.
And Henry Clay got 37 electoral votes.
Hank only got 37?
Only got 37, which is weird. So because nobody got a majority, nobody hit that 131 mark.
And even back then, Biden called it malarkey.
You understand we have a lot of stuff to get through, right? So because nobody hit 131, it went to Congress. The 12th Amendment kicked in only 20 years after it was ratified. And even though Andrew Jackson got a majority of the electoral, or a plurality of the electoral votes, John Quincy Adams was elected president by the House of Representatives. Now, 4 years later, 1828, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson run again. Andrew Jackson won a majority of the electoral votes. So this has happened before. But what?
I'm just...
No, you have that look.
It is just amazing to me, that's all, that you know all this. But go on.
Do you have any idea how much history I
don't.
Some of these.
Nobody else cares either. So go on. They care about what you're saying, not how much history.
I'm going outside. You go ahead, carry the show.
I'm kidding.
Oh, see how nice he gets. Now
that's because I'd be here for the next 20 minutes doing a Biden impression. That's all malarkey.
Stuff.
Kid, you don't know what you're talking about.
Now, there was something interesting. There's 11 toss-up states, but current polling suggests that Romney will take Florida, Virginia, and North Carolina. Those states are leading Romney's way, and
so much so they're not even polling there anymore. I don't.
They're not polling there anymore. By the way, Maine actually is one of only 2 states that can split their electoral votes, and they have 4 electoral votes. And there's one district that may actually go to Romney. So Romney may actually pull 1 electoral vote from Maine.
You kidding me?
No. I never joke about politics. Actually, I do all the time, which is why we have this show. But, now, if I redid the electoral map with Romney taking Florida, Virginia, and North Carolina, and if Romney does win those states, which again it looks like he's going to, they're not polling there anymore, but every electoral map still has them as toss-up states, swing states, because they could still swing back Obama's direction, but they're leaning Romney right now. So if Romney actually carries those 3 states, that leaves Romney with 22 winning combinations, and it leaves Obama with only 9.
Wow,
winning combinations.
That's a swing.
Now, if Obama if Obama loses Florida, Virginia, and North Carolina with 9 winning combinations, there is only one way that he can win without Ohio.
How is that?
Colorado, Nevada, and Iowa.
Which Romney's voting pretty well right now.
So,
except for Colorado, I think.
Yeah, I don't know about Nevada and Iowa, but Obama can. There's only one scenario he can win without Ohio. Or excuse me, there's 2 ways. I'm sorry, there's only one scenario in which. Let me backtrack. I confused myself. If 22 winning combinations for Romney, 9 for Obama. There's one scenario that it'll end up with an electoral tie, and that is if Obama gets Colorado, Nevada, and Iowa, and Romney takes the rest.
Wow.
Okay. If Obama takes, if Romney takes Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, there are 2 ways that Obama can win without Ohio, which means 7 out of 9 ways he needs to win, he has to take Ohio. Out of the 22 combinations for Romney to win, 15 of those can be accomplished without Ohio.
So Ohio is way bigger in the Obama camp.
As things stand right now, Ohio is much bigger, I believe, to Obama than it is to Romney. I haven't heard that discussed anywhere else. Maybe it is. I haven't heard it if it is. But you figure if Romney's able to take those 3 states that are already leaning his way to where they're not really even polling there anymore, especially in Florida and North Carolina, then you have 22 combinations that he can win total. 15 of those, over half, can be won without Ohio. Whereas Obama, if Romney does take those, there's only 2 ways he can win without it. That makes Ohio pretty critical, I would believe, for Obama at this point.
That's huge for Obama. And for Romney, that takes the pressure off quite a bit because Ohio is a tough state. I'm not saying he shouldn't be pushing Ohio.
Well, they're polling dead even right now.
Right. But Obama has to win that. I mean, I'm sure they have this information somewhere on some level. Somebody in one of the
I can figure it out by clicking
can.
on a 270 to win map and playing with the numbers, if I can figure this stuff out, and that's a great website, by the way, if you guys have a chance to go there.
It's not ours.
It is not our website. And again, they're just I clicked the states and they gave the numbers, but then I just went through and simply counted it. It's not like it's rocket science or anything. You just have to plug it in.
Then why are you wearing a lab coat?
because I like to think it's rocket science. I'm curious why I haven't heard anybody in the mainstream media talk about this. Everything I've heard is Ohio is critical to Romney. Ohio is critical to Romney. Romney has to win Ohio. Actually, Ohio is much more critical to Obama at this stage.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, you know, I've said this, I think I said this last week, and I've said it through this week. It's almost like it's Romney's election to lose. And I'm not trying to jinx or anything like that. He's gaining the momentum at the right time. Obama hasn't gotten the bounce out of his post-debate polls that he was expecting. Even
because he came across like a total ass.
And I think that's turning people off, you know. Someone in the chat room said, Slamobo said something to the effect of, they're not polling in those states where the economic conditionings are bad. They're pretty much staying away because most of those people aren't going to vote for Obama because they're suffering for his decision-making. And here we are.
And the last polling suggested that Romney was up like 4.6% with a 3% margin of error.
Yeah, and I saw that. I think that was Gallup, either Gallup or Rasmussen. And I'll tell you, it's funny. You know, we're on the West Coast, and right now I don't see hardly any political ads out here anymore because it's a done deal. But I have friends who live in the Midwest, and they're saying, especially I have a cousin in Ohio, they're getting lit up all the time.
I'm sure
every commercial break is one or the other, and it needs to be. And it's only going to get. I'll tell you, the next couple of weeks, every ounce of trash that can be dug up is going to be dug up. I think you're going to see them trying to, and we're going to talk about Libya in a second, but the conservatives are going to make a huge push on Libya because that is just.
I don't know that they will. They may start, but without knowing everything, I don't know how much they're going to push on it, and we'll get to Libya the following segment because it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
And what I'm really upset about is when that news broke, the new news that broke today. It was all over Fox.
Nowhere else.
I didn't see it on CNN. I didn't see it on MSNBC. I didn't see it and I don't know if they're even playing it now. But as this news was breaking, nobody else was covering it, which is really disgusting. But we'll get to it.
And I'll tell you
that segment
when we get into it. But my sister, who follows politics and she's conservative leaning, she blew up my phone this morning. It's like, can you believe this? Like, this is going on right now. Did you see this? Why isn't this as big as a deal as it is? And I'll say that in next segment, I know I'm jumping ahead, but
yeah, you are. So stop it. Knock it off. Just knock it off.
I'll stop right now.
Just stop right now.
I'm sorry, I interrupted your point again.
No, my point's done. Yeah, I have nothing. I'm done. I have nothing else. So look, I think I'm hesitant to make a prediction.
No,
I'm going to sack up. You know what? I'm calling this race for. My prediction is Romney's going to win this race.
So you're going to call from Sackhead Clint. Sackhead's Radio is calling this at 11:58 p.m. local time on the 26th.
He's going to completely implode tomorrow or something. Something's going to ridiculous is going to happen.
Him like running naked through a city, like
I'm going to be like, wow, I guess
like Will Ferrell from Old School. We're all going streaking. Come on, we're streaking.
I really believe this is Romney's race to lose at this point, especially with those three states leaning him. If he takes all three of those states, even without Ohio, Ohio is critical to Obama. If he takes Ohio, it's definitely a done deal. But we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to get into the breaking news today from Libya.
And if we have time, your calls, 347-205-9399. You're listening to Sackheads Radio.
How you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Sean and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
Hey folks, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for making this country and our communities a better and safer place. God bless.
Hi, this is Sarah Marie Brenner. You know, we often talk on the Brenner Brief about the fact that there really needs to be an organization to help people at the local level who are interested in running for things like school boards, city council, and other local offices. Well, I think I finally have the solution for you, at least for you women out there. It's called Politigal Network, Politigal Network.com. Their website's going to be launching mid-August, but they're already on Twitter at PoliticalUSA. I encourage you to follow them and become a member. Their goal is to be the #1 resource for conservative women. So if you love freedom, liberty, the United States of America, and politics, check out PoliticalNetwork.com or Twitter at PoliticalUSA.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. If you want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis, that is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sackheads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sackheads Radio sent you.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women in uniform of the armed forces. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our... God.
You going to mention me this time?
Thank you, Sean. Good? You said mention you, right?
Oh.
You totally need to keep that as an outtake.
Now back to Clint and Sean on Sackheads Radio, radiating elegancy and quality.
And we are back. 347-205-9399 is the phone number for the show. We're right now discuss Libya and everything that's come up this week. I'll tell you, it seems like as soon as we do our show within the next few days, because we're only a weekly show, all this stuff comes out, and it's just trying to get a lasso around it and figure out what's what is incredible. I don't even know. What do you want to start? You want to start with the emails? You want to start with the CIA that came out today?
Well, you know what? The emails I think have been talked about on a lot of different shows over the course of the week. Just to touch base real quick, emails came out, suggesting that the administration did know that the event was not a planned spontaneous protest, but that it was potentially a pre-planned attack.
Yeah, they watched it live from a drone.
However, yeah, but the information came out today that from a couple witnesses on the ground, I think there were two, that said that there was help was requested from the consulate and from the CIA substation, and those requests were repeatedly denied. As a matter of fact, the two SEALs, these guys are heroes. These guys are absolute heroes, and how nobody has awarded them a medal yet posthumously.
Well, because then you have to admit fault.
But these guys are at the CIA firebase, or at the CIA compound, and they hear the gunfire and the things going off at the embassy from a mile away.
Right.
And they request permission. Hey,
can we go?
Can we go?
Can we get help?
No, stand down. They were ordered to stand down. These brave men disobeyed orders eventually. After being turned down more than once, they disobey orders. They go to the consulate. They engage the insurgents, and they assist in the rescue of 30 employees, I believe.
Yeah, 30.
30 consulate employees. They get him out of there. They return to the CIA base. They then come under fire. And as they're under fire, they're requesting support. There are gunships that are on standby.
In Italy?
In Italy. It's, 420 miles away?
Yeah, they said it would be about an hour flight.
I think a little over an hour flight.
Right.
To get there. He was under fire for, how long was there? I think 5 hours, 7 hours, somewhere in there. More than enough time to get there. He had a laser designator. He was designating target locations.
He was lighting up mortar.
He was lighting up mortar positions. He was returning fire. He was just a true hero. And as this man is fighting for his life, fighting for his country, fighting to save the lives of others, and requesting help from his government, from the military, he ends up taking a mortar round and dying in action, being killed in action. Now, all you had to do is send a gunship, send help, somebody who would have been there in just under 2 hours to take out those targets that he was designating. We have American assets being fired upon. We have American service personnel being fired upon. We have an ambassador being killed. We have members of the State Department watching this real time via a drone. Tell me that you don't understand what's going on? Does it matter who's firing at them? They're taking mortar fire. They're taking RPGs. They're taking small arms fire. He is laser designating targets. He's returning fire, fighting for his life, fighting to save the lives of other Americans. And nobody's going to give him the assets. And you have to tell me that this decision was made at what nobody's saying where the decision's made, but you mean to tell me the White House wasn't apprised of what was going on and they weren't making the call?
Right.
That is absolute crap. That is complete BS. And if this administration was not informed, then it's complete and utter incompetence on the part of this administration.
Or dereliction of duty on some level.
And this administration, they've spun this story to be something completely different. My guess is for political purposes. And I believe they are actively engaged in a cover-up. They're at least spinning the hell out of this story and what happened, these events. And obviously for political purposes, he's in an election cycle. And to tell me that the president didn't know what was going on, if he didn't make that call, again, that is either complete incompetence or he's just outright lying to the American people, or was completely derelict in his duties as President of the United States. I don't know what the case is, but I hope that the President of the United States is not lying to the American people. That's my sincere belief. He still is President of the United States, whether I disagree with his policies or not. I have to believe that the President would have the best interest of American service personnel at heart. I don't know that was the case, which is sad in and of itself. I shouldn't have to ask that question about a president. We have the audio of the father.
We do.
Let's play that.
We have the audio, and this is the father of Navy SEAL, worked for the CIA, Ty Woods. This is his father, Charles Woods, and this is a long clip, so bear with us.
U.S. Navy SEAL Tyrone Woods was one of the 4 Americans killed in the terror attack. He ignored the orders to stand down. He went to the consulate to try to save those in peril. He fought to the bitter end, all the way back at the CIA annex, trying to keep the attackers at bay. His body was found slumped over his machine gun. They believe he fired to the last moment. His father, Charlie, is not interested in political arguments, but he does want to know who in the administration made the call not to dispatch military assets that might have saved his son's life, instead leaving Tyrone Woods and the other Americans to fend for themselves. Charlie Woods joins us live now by phone. Charlie, your reaction to the breaking news.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your introduction, and I do want to reiterate this and really emphasize again, this is not about politics. This is about, if it were about politics, it would dishonor my son's death. This has to do with honor, integrity, and justice.
As you learn more about his final moments, how he requested backup three times, and was denied 3 times, and how he ignored the orders to stand down, how he rushed to the scene to try to save the ambassador, and ultimately paid with his own life for his heroism.
Right. This news that he disobeyed his orders does not surprise me. My son was an American hero, and he had the moral strength to do what was right, even if that would professionally cost him his job, even if it would potentially cost him his life. He was a hero who was willing to do whatever was necessary to respond to their cries for help. If, in fact, those people in the White House were as courageous and had the moral strength that my son Ty had, immediately, within minutes of when they found there was the first attack, they would have given permission, not denied permission, for those C-130s to have gone up there. And this is I don't know much about weapons, but it's coming out right now that they actually had laser targets focused on the mortars that were being sent to kill my son, and they refused to pull the trigger. They refused to send those C-130s. To me, I'm an attorney. This may not meet the legal test of murder, but to me, that is not only cowardice, but those people who made the decision and who knew about the decision and lied about it are murderers of my son. That's a very strong statement for me to make, but for their benefit, they need to clear their conscience, they need to stand up, and they need to change the direction of their lives. And I want to say right now, you know who you are. I totally forgive you, but I hope years from now you change the direction of your life for your benefit.
Charlie, do you feel like you are getting straight answers from the administration on this?
This is all half of lies. And that's one thing, as a father whose son was killed, I do not appreciate lies. I do not appreciate cowardice, and I do not appreciate lies. And I'm a loving person. I love my son, and I want to honor him. And I hope I'm not speaking too strongly, but I am very glad the facts are coming out right now. The reason I'm even speaking up, our family had made the decision not to say anything. But after...
So, first of all, hats off to his family.
First of all, how gut-wrenching is that?
And hats off to Mr. Woods and his family for raising a hero. I can't imagine being in his position. And he called into Megyn Kelly, I think it was, on Fox News today.
And that's where that clip's from.
I can't imagine as a parent to hear. Now listen, I understand that when you enlist in the military, it's dangerous. I understand when you volunteer for special forces, it's dangerous. In this case, he volunteered to be part of the security group with the CIA, which is usually made up of a lot of former special forces person or active duty personnel that's loaned over to the CIA from the military. There's no doubt in my mind that his son is probably one of the most courageous people that you could meet ever in your life. The fact that the White House or whoever sat there and listened to them calling for help, and listen, it wasn't like an email or a text message, which is like, hey, send us help. Okay, gotcha. Maybe it was. I'm assuming it's some sort of sat phone or radio.
Well, they indicated that audio exists. So I would think it's voice.
You would have to think you could hear the gunfire in the background. You know what's going on. They're watching it live with the drone anyhow. There's all this crap that, the government of Libya wouldn't allow us to fly over, blah, 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 which I don't believe that for a second.
Well, not only that, but, yeah, go ahead and stop us.
Right, exactly.
We're going.
Go ahead and get your Air Force up against us. There's C-130 Spectres, gunships, an hour away. Here's this attack going on. And the 3 a.m. phone call, and I said, I used this to push the show a couple weeks ago. The 3 a.m. phone call was made and it wasn't answered. And this is just more proof that this administration is gutless when it comes to big time. Now, I'm not saying we should run over and bomb Iran right today or anything like that. But when it's time to make a decision and show a force to protect our citizens and our interests, he just doesn't have it. Everyone knows that there was intelligence that this attack was going to happen. Everyone knows it had nothing to do with the damn video that they blamed it on for, 2 weeks afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
And even now, occasionally, they still bring it up when they're discussing it from his administration.
Well, Chris Matthews does.
Yeah, well, Chris Matthews thinks it's a video. If Obama loses, it's because of the video, too. So, I mean, he's an idiot. We've already discussed that. The emails came out saying that they knew within 25 minutes that it was going on, minimum, via email. There was, alarms were sounded from inside the compound. The person manning the desk hit the bell, which we all know goes to the State Department Situation Desk in Washington. So even if it didn't get to the White House, somebody somewhere had the ability to make a decision and say, hey, send help. And I don't know if it was somebody in the Pentagon. I don't know.
And I know your answer to this, but does anybody really believe for a minute that this situation, a United States embassy was under attack and the President of the United States was not woken up, briefed in, made aware of the situation? Does anybody believe that for a second? So did the President say, okay, thanks for letting me know, I trust your decision making? Right. If so, that's incompetence. Right. And hey, yeah,
other incompetence.
Yeah, go ahead, find out who did it. It should have been you making that call. Or did somebody in the administration not call him? That didn't happen.
One of the greater analogies...
Because I believe Secretary of State Clinton right now wouldn't have a job if that were the case.
One of the greatest analogies that somebody put, and I don't know, they said they were a military person. I saw this online, former military person. It's the equivalent as you, as the average citizen, having a group of people outside your house shooting at you. You call 911, and the police turn around and say, yeah, we're not coming. And it's not because we don't have the manpower or none of that. We're just not coming. Deal with it. And here's this guy who, is a Navy SEAL, so he can take care of himself. He has sound decision-making abilities. He knows when he needs help. He knows when he doesn't need help. He knew he needed help. He's up on a roof trying to laser target so when the ships come, they can take it out. He's manning a 50 cal. They've already evacuated and saved 30 people. At what point do you turn around and say, yeah, you know what, maybe we need to give this guy help? How is that even it's a friggin' no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. I cannot even believe that one person who got that call would say no. That's not even something you run that far up the chain of command. That's something that has to be able to, somebody awake in that room or in that office watching it, so has to be able to make that decision. No, you know what?
Yeah, send it. We're going to notify the president.
Right. I'll suffer for it. I'll take the fall if it's the wrong decision, but send them help right away. I'll pay the gas and the bullets for the plane if that's what it comes down to.
We don't have very many people with that type of integrity anymore, though.
Well, we used to have a Navy SEAL like that.
We did.
Because he knew. And here's the other thing, too. Somebody was like, well, he can't violate a direct order, blah, 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 blah.
Hey, dumbass.
It's a common sense. It's not even common sense.
You know what? I would pose this as an argument. American citizens were dying. A United States embassy was under attack. A United States ambassador was present. I had a duty as a member of the military to go and assist to try and save that life. I disobeyed a direct order because I believed that order was illegal, and I was keeping true to my duties and the oath that I took. And who knows how far that would get him in a military court. But I think that's his good argument. And you know what? I don't believe he'd be found guilty of it.
I was going to say, go ahead,
there's no way.
Court-martial him.
Yeah.
There's no way it would happen.
No.
You'd look like a jerk for court-martialing a hero, for starters, so there would be public outrage. Number two, you can't tell me that if you brought him in front of a military judge, the military judge would turn around and say, yeah, but he takes an oath that is the most important thing that he has to live by. And we can have all these rules, order, direct order. It's not like he went and made the decision to attack a group of unarmed Libyans. Here's a man who recognized the attack. We've given him the best training in the world. He has experience up the yin-yang. He's attached to the CIA, obviously because he's, for lack of a better term, tits. I mean, this guy is dialed. How can you not trust his judgment? There's no argument for it, and this administration needs to answer, because up until this, I was just a little aggravated. And when I say a little aggravated, I mean really pissed off, but I try to maintain because I just try to.
You do it so well.
When this came out today, my heart broke a little bit, because I cannot imagine that was a relative of mine, friend of mine, somebody like that, who's there giving his all, and the damn phone call wasn't answered. If that was your relative, wouldn't you expect answers?
Yeah, I would. And
I'd expect answers. I want friggin' heads to roll.
I would. And look,
metaphorically,
we know how it works. And look, what I would like to see the president called before Congress to testify on exactly what he did and did not know, and exactly what calls were made. I would like to see, if need be, an independent investigator called in to investigate this.
I volunteer.
Specifically, what the president did and did not know. Look, we investigated a president over a blowjob. Okay? I mean, there was more to it. There was a property scandal and a sexual harassment thing and stuff, but ultimately a blowjob.
Definition of what is.
All right. And he was impeached. The House of Representatives impeached him. He was found not guilty in the Senate, but he was, in fact, impeached, one of only 2 presidents ever, over a blowjob because he lied about it during the special investigation. We need to know, as American people, if our president is truly incompetent, or if he is going to be honest during the course of an investigation. And if he is not honest, if he doesn't answer the questions, if he's not transparent like he promised to be, then I believe he needs to be impeached for obstruction, like President Clinton was, and for perjury, like President Clinton was. Now, I'm not calling for that right now this second, because the man hasn't perjured himself and he hasn't obstructed anything, and the facts are coming out, but we need those facts to come out. And I'm not talking about this even from an election standpoint. We're not going to get to the bottom of this before the election is done. I still can't believe that people are going to vote to keep this administration in play in light of everything that's happening, but that's a different story. But I think whether Obama wins or loses, this needs to be investigated. And if he lies about it, if he tries to obstruct justice, I think he needs to be brought up on charges for that, because this is something that is that serious. We lost American heroes and a United States ambassador. This is a big deal to me as an American. And we need answers. Hey, you know what? If you go and you tell the truth and you screwed up, okay, you know what? Act like a man.
Right. You're incompetent, but you're not lying.
Right.
I can deal with that.
I can deal with that.
Because I know he's incompetent.
Hey, you know what? You screwed up. You made a mistake. You're a man. You admitted your mistake. That in and of itself is presidential. Or, you know what? You're incompetent. Hey, I made a mistake on this. I was incompetent. Or, hey, I made a mistake on this. I trusted my subordinates. I shouldn't have. I should have owned it and taken the lead on this, and I failed to do so.
There was a failure in the chain of command, and people were disciplined accordingly.
Okay.
Right.
You know, I can understand. I can get my head around that. But, Mr. President, you owe the American people that. And I want to make something very clear. You work for us. We don't work for you. We don't do what you say. You do what we say. And because you work for us and because you represent us, you owe us an explanation.
Yeah.
We are your CEOs.
I am issuing a write-up right now, and I expect you to respond. We're going to take a call. This Neil's been holding forever, and he wanted to chime in on this subject. Hey, Neil, you with us?
Yeah, man. Thanks for letting me on with you guys.
No problem. We only got 5 minutes left. Sorry I held you in hold for so long. Go ahead.
Okay, that's all right. Well, you know, here's the I don't know if you saw it or not, the Panetta interview, which afterwards he is now being referred to commonly on the Internet as Pathetica. I'm serious. He says that the reason that they didn't respond any quicker was because they were waiting for all the information to come in. Here they have hardline communications, triple redundancy, military-grade quality. They've got overhead drones. They've got a direct video feed. They got emails begging for support. And he says that they don't have enough information to respond. What kind of crap is that?
More importantly, Neil, you have two Navy SEALs who know more than Leon Panetta will ever know about needing support immediately.
You know what?
And they were ignored.
I think that was Leon Panetta covering for his administration because he still wants to have a job if this president is reelected. Like the CIA statement today, the CIA spokeswoman came out with a statement saying the CIA did not deny any assets and no requests for the CIA assets came in and was given or was denied. Didn't say anything about the administration or State Department or anybody else, but we're talking specifically about the CIA.
Video.
And I agree with you that.
I'm sorry.
What's that?
The video came out on June 8th. There was not one word of it mentioned on any of the news media. It was not mentioned by the White House in general at any press conference or anything, but our guys get hurt over there, and within 30 minutes they have someone to blame, and it's over this video that nobody has said anything about. I want to mention one other thing to you. Mr. Woods, the father, he had an interview on the Beck channel, and he made the statement on there that he actually met Obama and Hillary. He said Obama gave him a dead fish handshake, and Hillary said that she was awfully sorry, but he said it didn't look like she meant it when she said it. And he's really ill. Huh?
Biden said, there's a quote out there right now saying Vice President Biden said something effective. Man, your son had balls the size of cue balls. And that's what the Vice President of the nation said to a mourning parent who just lost his son in an attack that should have had support. Hey, Neil, thanks for the call. We're going to wrap up the show, buddy. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Neil.
Take care, buddy.
You're welcome.
Now, I got to say on Biden's words, I think that was Biden's way of saying, hey, your son was a stud. In his own, it's not vice presidential. It's not, but it's right. It's not really appropriate, maybe.
Well, he's trying to make the guy laugh and feel better. But
he at least
acknowledged
that's
it.
A genuine guy. That's something a guy would say to another guy who genuinely appreciates something. Look, I'm not a Biden fan, so for all of our listeners, all two of you that are going to jump down my throat for defending the man, I'm not a Biden fan. But look, not really appropriate the way you put it, but the fact that Biden said that, I think he was genuinely in awe, or genuinely appreciative of the man's efforts.
It's hard to know what Joe means anymore.
But think about it. I mean, every time he cusses or says something like that, like when the health care bill was passed,
this is a big
effing deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he does that when he means something or when he's sincere about something or passionate about something. So I believe that perhaps Joe was actually maybe giving some serious credit there.
Time and place.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying. Whereas Obama gives a dead fish handshake and Hillary Clinton gives a half-ass, I'm sorry, your son got killed, Biden at least maybe recognized true heroism.
No,
perhaps.
I agree. Yep. Oh, well, hey, this is a great show. I appreciate all your research on the Electoral College. Man,
it's kind of a big deal.
It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
You know what? Too bad we only have 4 listeners because that would be a great analysis to get out.
That was a huge deal. Maybe we'll push it somewhere.
Yeah.
This Libya thing's not open.
I think they need to be on back.
This Libya thing's not over. It's only going to get worse. I think they should subpoena everybody to testify. And hopefully we'll get to the responsible.
This is wrap up. Why are you still going on about such a serious topic? People.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Are we going to be drinking coffee? I'm too spun up. I'm so pissed about this whole Libya thing.
Listen, we'll see you guys next week. This is Sackheads Radio Show. Check us out on Facebook.
One more show before the election.
One more show before the election. Check us out on Facebook. We are on Twitter at Sackheads, www.sackheadsradio.com. If you have a picture of yourself with a paper bag on your head, email it to fanmail at Sackheads Radio.
Are we doing a live election night?
We're going to try to do a live election night. We have to work it out. We're going to try. I got to fly, but we're going to try.
You got to fly? I'm flying that night, too. We'll do it from the cockpit.
Awesome. Thank you very much for listening. We will talk to you next Friday night.
Sackhead Clint.
Sackhead Sean.
Have a good one.